Music Online UK.
What have you been up to this week? What improvements have you made with your musical studies?
I kind of like improved my second piece.
Which is?
It's Presto alla Tedesca.
Ah, the Beethoven Presto alla Tedesca. Okay. Would you fancy playing that for us now?
Okay.
Yeah? Come on then.
Oh.
Yeah, and switch the piano on. It always helps.
Again.
Thank you. Okay, right. Now, I thought we could do a little exercise today. We're going to work out how much that performance is worth in an exam. All right, and the marking criteria, how it's marked. Okay, so you might have heard me talk about this before in some of my videos. The marking is divided into 5 different aspects. All right, so amongst the rest of the group now, we're going to be sort of like constructively critical. All right.
No, I can't. It's just too wonderful.
Yeah, but okay, the first aspect is called pitch. All right, and which of these 3 would you just say describes the pitch? That means basically just playing the right letters. Okay, so highly accurate notes, or largely accurate notes, or generally accurate notes.
Largely accurate.
Generally.
Dylan's going for generally because he knows the piece better than everyone else. Yeah, what would you say, Julia?
I think that there was a little slight fumbling somewhere. I don't know the piece, but I think Rachel, I would also agree with general to largely.
Okay, well, I think I'll, Dylan's being very honest. Generally accurate. There were a few moments, weren't there? So, I mean, most of the notes, yeah, but there were a few occasions when it was stumbling a little bit. So we're going to go for generally accurate, okay? And that would be worth, if you divide the total of 30, which you get for a piece, into 5 sections, each section then is going to be worth 6 marks. So we call that 4 for the pitch, all right? Now, timing, that's like rhythm and things like that. All right, so which of these descriptions would you say fits? Fluent with flexibility where appropriate and the rhythmic character conveyed, or sustained effective tempo with a good sense of rhythm, or suitable tempo, generally stable pulse and overall rhythmic accuracy?
The
Or-
first. Oh, sorry.
Or do you think maybe an unsuitable tempo?
The first one.
Okay, now the piece is called Presto alla Tedesco. What does the word presto mean?
Very fast.
Yeah. All right. Now, I mean, these suggested metronome marks are not necessarily gospel, but if it says dotted minim 66,
66 times 3 for the crotchets.
if you're going to do it in crotchets, yeah. So 3 times 66 is 180 plus 198. Yes. Or just do the 66 dotted minims, right? So do that. Yeah, so hold on, Dylan. Okay. Now, when it goes so fast, it's easier to fill a dotted minim. Would that be the speed you played, or would you say a little bit under?
Yeah, maybe.
It's a bit faster, isn't it?
Mm.
So, to be honest, I think the tempo is a little bit under speed. All right, so you're going to lose a little bit for that. So we're going to say 3 out of 6. All right, it's just not really presto. You know what I mean? Yeah? Okay. Now, tone, the third area. Well projected, sensitive use of tonal qualities. That's the first sort of category. Or mainly controlled with good tonal awareness, or generally reliable, adequate tonal awareness. Now, I think when we're judging this, we're going to talk about the voicing. And in this piece, you've got that main theme of the cuckoo, haven't you? Bum, 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 all the way through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So, for example, if you played me, can you just play me a little bit now? Bar 59. Okay, now would people say that that cuckoo thing, cuckoo, cuckoo, is coming out? Or would you say possibly that the way a little bit? What do you
A
think?
little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, you've got an idea of it, all right? So it's generally reliable, and there is sort of some tonal awareness, but to try and get that tune really voiced out over the top. Oh, somebody else joining us here.
Hello.
Ah, it's
Hi.
joining us. Nice to see you again. Yeah, we were just marking each other's pieces at the moment. So, should we say a 4 out of 6 for the tone?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're happy with that, are you? Right, now, shape. I think this really talks about dynamics and articulation more than anything. Okay, expressive, idiomatic, musical shaping and detail. Top marks. Or for 5 points, clear musical shaping and well-realized detail. Or for 4 points, some realization of musical shape and detail. How much do you think the dynamics and the articulation and all that sort of stuff was portrayed in that performance?
I think I heard a crescendo in the part where he crossed his hand. I seem to notice a change.
Yeah. So how many marks, I mean, you don't know the piece very well inside out, do you? Because it's not your pieces, but how many marks do you think you would give that out of 6?
5.
You're going to give a 5 for the shape, are you? Okay. Is that a general consensus?
Yes.
What would you give yourself, Dylan?
Well, at the second page, I did some.
Yeah, I noticed that. You've got the crescendo and diminuendo, well, crescendo and subito piano. Da, 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 da. Yeah, the big crescendo, sforzando, and then subito piano. That was all there. Yeah.
I didn't really do the dulce at the cuckoo part.
Okay, so the contrasting dolce section with the soft pedal, yeah, that could be quieter.
I did do it in the 110 bar 110.
So what mark would you give yourself then, out of 6?
4.5.
You're trying to be awkward, aren't you? We'll give you a 5, benefit of the doubt, okay? And then the final section is basically a assimilation of all those factors to create a performance, in sense of a performer, an artist, yeah? So would you describe Dylan now, the rest of you? And Angel can give her opinions. Would you describe him as assured, fully committed? Oh, you didn't really hear the performance, did you? You just came in late. So yeah, so you can't do this yet. We'll use you in a minute. What about the other 2 of you? Right, 6 points, assured, fully committed and vivid communication of character and style. Or 5 points, positive, carrying musical conviction, character and style communicated. Or 4 points, generally secure, prompt recovery from slips and some musical involvement.
5.5.
5.5. Julia,
I think 5.
you think of 5 as well? Okay. Possibly I might have, because there are a few slips. That does affect the performance a little bit. Yeah, when you lose your momentum a bit. And there was some musical involvement, but at points it didn't always have all that sort of like the shaping, because we were talking about earlier, the shaping and the tone and everything else, and that all creates the performance aspect and conveying the character and the style of the composer intended. So maybe I would go for more of a 4 on that. Yeah. So adding all that up, we'd have 4, 3, 4, 4, and 5. I think that is just an average of
20.
4. It's 20, isn't it?
20.
So, because the standard of grade 8 is pretty high, that would be a pass. But we're looking for a little bit more for a merit or a distinction. Yeah?
Which grade is the piece?
That's grade 8.
Oh, very good.
All right. I think the worst mark in that whole group of different categories is the sort of the time, because it is a little bit slow for a presto. Yeah, and that's where we're going to lose most of the marks. And then, you know, these things are interlinked. It's not just, all right, that's completely separate from that, because if you're not playing it fast enough, you're not going to get the character of the piece. and that's linked, isn't it? It's not just one separate from the other. They're affected by each other. You with me? So that effect and the character that Beethoven intended, you're not going to get if you're not playing it presto. Yeah, but still a very good performance, and thank you for being brave. All right, and a pass, but we can build it from there. All right, cool. So, Rachel.
Okay.
Okay, are you happy to play us one of your grade 5 pieces? Now, you actually played with us last week. Oops, we've just moved over.
Yeah.
So, is there any way maybe we could see the keyboard?
Because I'm on my iPhone.
Okay. Well, we still got a view there. What you're doing? Yes, slightly to the side. Keyboard. Yep, that looks good. All right. So, you were working on the fugue. Now, I remember last week you'd only been on it a couple of weeks, and it was on the slower side. So obviously that would affect a general mark at the moment, but there are other factors that we were just talking about with Dylan, weren't there? Okay. Yep, when you're ready. Okay, good. All right, now, I don't know if anyone remembers Rachel's performance last week, because it's basically the same people that were here, aren't you? It seems already a lot more fluent than it was last week. Do you remember? Because you were just really plowing through the notes for the first time towards the end of the second page last week, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's an improvement there already. Now, what sort of marks do you think we would give for pitch out of 6 in terms of note accuracy? Would you say highly, largely, or generally, or frequent note errors? What do you think? What do you think yourself, Rachel? What would you give yourself?
It was just generally.
Yep. So I'm going to give you 4 for the pitch, yeah? All right. Now, what about the rhythm and the time? Okay. The correct speed, absolutely fluent, and flexibility, or a sustained effective tempo, or
No.
suitable tempo, or an unsuitable tempo?
It was the suitable tempo.
I think it's 5, except for the last part, which was
Right.
a bit slow.
So do you think the it was an irregular pulse a little bit under the main, what we're aiming for? Now, bearing in mind, we've only been learning this for about 3 weeks, haven't you? Yes, so, you know, we're not going to pretend to be passing an exam in the first day. All right, so would you say maybe a 3 for the rhythm and tempo? Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so a 4 and a 3, the same as Dylan so far. What about the tone? Now, this is a fugue. All right, and a fugue. What is a fugue?
I have oh wait, no, that's not it.
Okay. First of all, is it a piece of many voices, like polyphonic voices, or is it sort of like just chords and blocks, like homophonic?
Polyphonic.
It's polyphonic with many voices, one entering after the other. So you've got the main theme to start with, and then later on, yeah, and other voices come in as like an imitation effect. Did you get the sense that it was polyphonic when you were listening to that? Or were you just getting a sense of just block, 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 block? As I said, as an honest answer. What do you think? Because you heard this one now, Angel. What did you think? Would you have felt that it was actually a polyphonic piece as you were listening to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there was some, a little bit of tonal awareness in there, yeah? What would you say, Julian, Dylan?
Yeah, but I think there's like 2 sections. One of the there's a major part and a minor part.
Oh, there's many sections, yeah. But I know what you mean. Okay. All right. Okay, so maybe a 4 for that. Yeah, there was some awareness, but it can be a little bit more sort of brought out, the different voices coming in and out. Yeah. What about shape in terms of dynamics? Were there any dynamics, Rachel?
No, I just smashed it out.
There's honesty for you. All right. So really, I think musical shape and detail insufficiently conveyed. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go for a 3 on that. And then as a performance, now, yeah, one of the words, did it have a sort of a prompt recovery from slips, some musical involvement? Would you say?
Yeah.
There wasn't much slips.
No, there weren't. Okay. So I would say, yeah, generally that's maybe a 4 on that. Okay, but the tempo and everything's are going to bring it down a little bit. So we're on a, we're looking at about an 18 at the moment. Now, considering you've been learning it 3 weeks, I think that's a reasonable mark to be getting in 3 weeks. Don't you? I'd be happy with that.
So that wouldn't pass.
Not today, no.
No.
But obviously, you don't think you're going to be learning a piece for a grade 6 exam in 3 weeks and have it ready for a pass in that short space of time, would you?
No.
Yeah. And as I was saying to Dylan, the one thing that's going to help him get a higher mark is just getting it up to a bit more speed like he's supposed to do, yeah, and a bit more fluency. And the same's going to happen with your fugue, isn't it? As you get more familiar with it, the fluency is going to come nicer. And then
My grade 5 piece took me about like 5 or 6 months to learn before I got a pass.
Yeah. Okay. So you were doing okay. I wouldn't be discouraged to think, oh, that didn't pass today, because you've only been started learning it very recently.
Yeah.
Yeah? It's just to give you a sort of like, this is where I'm at, and that's where I've got to get to. So, okay. So you got a plan now. You see what I mean?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Now, I did recently hear quite a nice chanson de matin from grade 4 from Julia. Okay.
It's on the piano.
Yeah. Not stung. Not because it. Or actually, isn't it?
I'm going to get my book because I've got it as well. One sec.
Yeah. What was it originally written for?
I think,
Was it like
yeah, I think violin.
violin?
Yeah, I think it's a violin, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked.
Okay. So, how long have you been learning the chanson de matin, Julia?
I think I find that one the easiest from the grade 4.
Yeah. How long have you been learning it?
Well, I think today was the first time we really sort of picked up on polishing it.
Fair enough. When did you
Before
start
I was
learning
playing
the
it
notes?
mechanically.
Yeah, but when did you start learning the notes? First time you looked to set eyes on it.
Gosh, I think I bought the book about last November.
Okay.
But I haven't been sort of playing this all the time.
Okay, but on and off for about 6 months or
Yeah.
something. All right.
Yes.
Okay, so a little bit longer time working it. Do you want to have a little play of it for us, and then we can sort of, again, we can constructively help you understand where you're at with it. All right. Okay, thank you. All right, now, come on, you can mark yourself.
Well,
Pitch
I'm
out of
trying,
6.
I'm trying to look at my pencil markings at the same time that I was reading the notes. So I know I did stumble around the staccato.
All right, so out of 6, how would you say your pitch was? Just playing the actual letters correctly. Highly accurate, largely accurate, or generally accurate?
Largely.
Yeah, would you agree with that? So I'll give you a 5 for the pitch. All right. Okay, now what about the timing, the rhythm? And remember that 6 includes, what's the wording? Fluent with flexibility where appropriate. Would you say that was it there? Was there like sense of rubato, or would you say it's a little bit mechanical?
Yeah. It sounded pretty free, romantic style.
Okay, so you heard the rubato in there, did you?
That's good because that's what we were talking about in the lesson.
Yes, exactly. So would you give that a 5 or a 6?
I mean, I understand there was rubato, but I think the reason I won't give it a 6 because where it's got poco writ, there's a couple of bar 12, 13, 14, 15 and 22, I don't think it's slowed down enough. And I understand there was rubato, but it's really important in this piece to do the allegando and follow the markings on the rhythm, because it's flowing the whole way. There's a couple of sections that really do slow it down.
So you're talking about the allegando in 31, are you?
And the poco Ritz and the Ritz on 15.
And 15, yeah. Yeah, so you mean this bit? Sorry, if you look at the key signature, do it again.
And then on both of them, it goes a tempo immediately after both. So there's really got to be a differentiation between those two.
Yes, okay. So a little bit more rich in 15, yeah? Is that what you're saying?
And 22.
Okay. And 22. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, a little bit more there. So are we okay for a 5 on the rhythm?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, next category is all about the tone. And this one, again, is one of those pieces where you've got different voices coming through. And to an extent, I heard quite a lot of nice sort of controlled voicing. So, for example, the left hand is coming out nicely here. And then the right hand takes over. So that's what I'd call tonal control there. Yeah? Would you say it was controlled very well, generally well, largely well?
My only criticism on the piece was the beginning, because it's marked off MP Dolce, and that it was absolutely beautifully played.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just being critical because I know this piece off by heart, that the beginning really must be quieter than the second page where it's got MF. There's a huge difference, and it starts off beautifully, but it's, for me, it was, unless it was the Skype, I don't know, but it came across too loud. It's supposed to be dolce and quiet. And then the second page, you can hammer it out wherever you want to go, not the first page.
I take on every point you said, but there is something else that you said about Skype does sometimes tend to equalize all the sounds. Yeah, so you have to bear that in mind a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, how are you feeling about Julia yourself?
I think
that the MP was a bit over loud?
well, you know, because I played alone a lot of the time, I've often found it's very difficult to actually know what pitch to play. Number one, I don't want, to disturb people, this kind of thing. And I've never played in a concert hall. So I imagine in a concert hall, if you played MP, you'd have to play it quite loud if you were in a concert hall.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Have PP and 3 Ps.
It's all very relative to the context
Yeah,
of the playing, isn't it?
I think it's a very good point that page 2, there's got to be a noticeable difference. I think that's a very good point.
Mm-hmm. Although you do go right down to P at bar 23.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, and I think possibly, although you did voice that phrase more left than right, which is good, possibly the chord right at the beginning of 23, it was a bit thumped. Yeah, I'm just being picky now, but just really stroke into that one. And then the left hand's got more of a chance to sing out, if you know what I mean, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so another 5 for that. We're all on 5s at the moment. Good, but there is room for slight improvements. What about shape? In terms of, clear musical shaping, the dynamics, the articulation, that sort of thing. What do you feel? Who's going to mark Julia on her shaping of the melodies and the phrases?
5?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, going for 5s again. Yeah, I think there was clear musical shaping, definitely. All right, but as Rachel was saying earlier, giving her, some reason for whatever, there is room for sometimes a little bit more subtlety in the changes and the different levels of the volumes and the dynamics and everything. Yeah.
Mm.
So another 5 and a performance. Right. Would you say it deserves assured, fully committed, vivid communication of character and style? Does it deserve that much? Or does it deserve positive, carrying musical conviction and the character and style was communicated?
The second one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, as you say, these things are all linked, aren't they?
Mm.
You're going to get 5, 5, 5, 5, and then to get 6 on the end is a little bit tricky because they're all sort of codependent on each other.
Mm.
Right. So a straight run of 5s gives you a 25, which is a merit already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and today was the first time we worked on the pedals, so I have a lot of pencil marks to look at, which are underneath other sides. So I've got to put it all together.
Well, I think that's an encouraging performance to start with, and you?
Can I just mention one thing?
Yes.
When I was learning this piece on Google, there's an awful lot of violins and all sorts of instruments that complement this. And when I tried to get a bit more feeling about it, what I Googled, say a violin playing this song, and then I'd play it against the background of the violin, and it's absolutely beautiful. There's so many options.
Yeah, I think to get the composer's original intentions, that is a very good thing to do, especially if it's an arrangement of another instrumentation. Because, as you say, it's written for violin to start with. So if you can find the original and listen to that, it's going to inspire you how the composer wanted it played.
Yes.
I think there's another piece, grade 5. Anyone on grade 5?
I have the book.
I mean, maybe it's not for you, but I'm pretty sure Andante in A comes from a symphony.
Oh, yours, Haydn.
Yes, the Haydn, yeah? That one, yeah? That's not a piano piece, that's a symphony. So for people learning that, go and look up the symphony on YouTube and find it and listen to it and sort of understand what Haydn wanted. And then you'll understand about the voices as well, because the voices in this piece are different instruments, the orchestra.
Yes.
Yeah? And so that's just going to help you interpret it better. Okay, now, Angel, how's your microphone this week?
My microphone's fine.
Because last week you played us a little bit, but your microphone died on us, didn't it? So would you like us to do a little mock mark for one of your pieces as well?
So this is the prelude.
Are you doing the prelude for us? Okay, go on then. Okay, thank you. All right, so that's grade 6. How do you feel about yourself?
As in,
As in an overall performance. I mean, was there anything there you didn't feel was the way you wanted it exactly? You could have done better?
4. Well, I mean 5, because I forgot. I think I forgot a few notes.
Okay. I would say it was very difficult to actually detect any wrong notes in that. Okay, you've heard a couple or felt a couple yourself. All right, we'll call it a 5 for the pitching. All right. Now, time-wise, the thing is with this piece, it's very rubato. You can't play this mechanically. It's a little bit like the chanson de matin we just heard, isn't it? And especially from the Romantic periods, you do have a lot of license. And there were moments when you pulled around the speed and got faster and slower. How well do you think Angel did that? Everyone else? How effectively?
It felt a bit free, not free at the end with the accompaniment. It sounded like da da for like a long time, the same.
So do you think you got a little bit mechanical, clock-like?
Just the accompaniment.
All right, so you felt the accompaniment could have had a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm just not quite sure why you slowed down at the end, because it's not marked anything about Ralenti at all, and it really slowed down the last sort of 3 bars.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, occasionally we can have a bit of license and just ease off a little bit towards the end of the piece. That's normal, but I would agree it got a little bit too slow. Yeah. And possibly this sostenuto thing. I know what you're trying to do. And you pull it around a little bit, but I think again it was down a little bit. It almost come grinding to a halt. Yeah, it's a very difficult creative thing to do, to know exactly how much to slow down when it's not something you can mathematically formulate. It's a feeling thing, isn't it? Yeah. So, sort of mark you give Angel then for timing and rhythm. Everybody.
5 out of
5 again? Yeah. Okay. Because there was definitely evidence of some, you know, flexibility with the rubato effects. Now, tone. Again, one of these pieces is like chanson de matin. You've got to voice the different parts. And for those who play in this piece, and we've got the books there, the right hand is marked sotto voce, which means, Dylan, you don't know this piece, so can you tell me what sotto voce means? Or Julia?
Well, I know from a Chopin piece, I think it's the Raindrop Prelude. I think the second part of the piece is a sotto voce.
Okay.
It's like an
Chopin as well, actually. So, okay.
It means
what does it mean?
an under voice.
Yeah, I mean, literally means under the voice. Sotto is underneath. Sotto la tavola, under the table. Okay. All right. So sotto is under the voice. In other words, the right hand is not the voice. The voice is that left hand, isn't it? Now, there was some evidence of Angel trying to make that left hand tune come out. How effectively do you think she played the right hand sotto voce?
I thought it was a 100% effort, but following on from what you said earlier, I think that the D, the B was just was very slightly too much. I think to perfect that piece, I would go lighter on that on the second quaver.
So generally the right hand lighter, yeah, and the, yeah,
just on the second part of each beat.
True, because there is a little bit of lead on the first of each one, isn't there? There's a little accent on the first of each pair. But that accent in itself has to be all in the context of something that is underneath in volume, the left hand. Yeah? Would you agree with that? So are we going for a 4 or a 5?
5.
Going for a 5? Okay. They're being very kind. Because I know they're going to come back at you one day. All right. Now, shape. That's the, the rise and the fall of the dynamics, maybe. And sometimes, in some extent, the articulation, although this is quite legato all the way through. There's not a lot to do articulation. Did you feel any rise and fall in the dynamics?
I think it was very good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for example, we've got a crescendo in the first bar leading to the first note of the second bar. To that B there. And then it goes down. Did you feel that rise and fall? That was a long time ago. Anyone?
Yeah, I definitely think there was an effort to, I'm not saying it was 100% achieved, but there was definitely the intention of doing that.
Uh-huh. How effectively was it carried through? Are we talking about 5 or 6?
80%?
So a 5 out of 6 again, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And her general performance, would you say assured and fully committed with vivid communication of style and character?
Yes.
Should we give her a 6 on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So we're on a 26 there. Yeah. High merit, only 1 upper distinction. That was quite a revealing exercise, wasn't it? For to pull apart the performances and to analyze them in detail. But maybe it's been useful for you. Did you enjoy doing that?
Yeah.
If that's something you'd like to do in the future for your pieces, I'll be happy to go through them and analyze what sort of marks and why. And we can, I think if you can understand how the examiners are thinking, with this marking criteria that they have, then it'll help you understand what the examiner's looking for when you do your exams.
It makes me nervous.
Yeah, I know. But you notice it's not all about just playing the right notes. There's a lot more to it than just playing the right notes. And that's what the examiners are looking for. We spent a very little time just analysing whether the notes right or not.
But what I was thinking, like the piece that Dylan plays, I mean, I think that's, was probably composed for like, a full-grown man with huge hands. And I just think you're quite phenomenal the way you play, and your little fingers go flying all over the keyboard. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant.
There you are. Your little fingers flying all over the keyboard, Dylan. They were very impressed with your playing. All right. Okay, so hopefully that's given everyone a few little pointers where they could be aiming for in the weeks to come. All right. If you're happy, we'll meet up again next Friday. All right. I think that's been a useful experience. All right.
Okay.
Okay. You take care, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.